Have you ever looked around and wondered, where did everyone go? Maybe the phone doesn't ring like it used to, the invitations have slowed down, or the people who once filled your days are now just memories. If that sounds familiar, let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, what you're feeling is more common than you think. And here's the surprising truth. Life after 70 doesn't have to be filled with social calendars and constant company to be fulfilling. In many ways, it can be even better without all the noise. We've been told our whole lives that friendship is everything, that we need a circle of people around us to feel complete. But as the years pass, something shifts. Our needs change. Our priorities evolve. And that deep, constant craving for companionship, it begins to fade. Not because we've become cold or distant, but because we've finally begun to understand the real meaning of peace. This isn't about loneliness, it's about freedom. There's a powerful kind of independence that comes after 70. It's the freedom to choose your own company, sometimes even preferring your own over anyone else's. The need to explain yourself disappears. The pressure to please others fades. And you start to realize that happiness can actually grow in the quiet. Let's talk about the first reason this shift is such a gift. You finally get to focus on yourself. For decades, many of us put everyone else first. We raised kids, worked, jobs, cared for partners, supported friends, but now, this is your time. You no longer have to say yes to lunch dates that drain you or conversations that leave you feeling empty. You can wake up and ask yourself, what do I feel like doing today? That kind of self-prioritization isn't selfish, it's overdue. And here's the second reason: less drama, more peace. Let's be honest, not all friendships are good for us. Some are built on obligation, others on habit. And unfortunately, a few were never really friendships at all. When you step away from the expectation that you need people around to be happy, you begin to notice how peaceful your life becomes. There's no gossip, no disagreements about trivial things, no unreturned calls to stress about. It's just you, your thoughts, and the life you've built. You may find yourself enjoying simple pleasures more deeply: a cup of coffee on the porch, a morning walk, a book you can finally finish. No need to check in, keep up, or be available for anyone else's schedule. And in that stillness, you discover something precious: your own rhythm. Now, that doesn't mean you never talk to anyone or that connection doesn't matter at all. It just means you no longer depend on social ties to feel valid or joyful. You stop measuring your life by how many people you have around you and start measuring it by how deeply you feel content. The truth is, after 70, the rules change. You've earned the right to stop chasing friendships that don't serve you. You've earned the right to sit quietly and smile, knowing that peace, real peace, comes from within. And once you've embraced that first layer of independence, it opens the door to something even deeper. Once that door opens, something remarkable starts to happen. You begin to hear your own voice again. Not the version of yourself shaped by what others expected of you, but the real inner voice you may have put aside years ago. And that brings us to another beautiful truth. After 70, your time and energy become your most valuable resources. You don't owe them to anyone who doesn't truly enrich your life. This leads us right into the third reason. Embracing independence brings more happiness. You gain emotional clarity. Without the constant chatter and background noise of unnecessary friendships, your emotional world becomes simpler. You start noticing what lifts you up and what pulls you down. The tension you used to feel when trying to keep up appearances or please everyone else, it fades. You no longer feel guilty for saying no or choosing solitude over small talk. And in that calm, your inner strength grows. You might find yourself reflecting more, thinking back on the people who came and went, and realizing which connections were genuine and which ones were just convenient. And here's the truth most won't say out loud. Some friendships had already run their course long ago. Maybe you held on out of habit, or fear, or because it felt easier to keep pretending. But now, with this newfound clarity, you can finally let go without resentment. You're not pushing people away, you're just choosing peace. And that leads us right into the fourth reason: more room for self-discovery. Many people think self-discovery is just for the young, but in reality, it's a lifelong journey. In fact, the later years often hold the richest lessons because now you have the time and wisdom to explore them. You can take up painting, gardening, writing, or simply enjoying long walks where your thoughts can wander freely. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone. There's no race, no comparison, just exploration for the joy of it. Without the distraction of shallow relationships or the pressure to be constantly social, you can tune into the things that truly spark joy in your soul. And those things, those quiet, personal passions, often bring more lasting satisfaction than any casual conversation ever could. And here's something else that's often overlooked. Independence after 70 can actually strengthen the relationships that do matter. Because when you're not scattered or overstretched, you can be more present, more intentional, and more appreciative of the few people who truly deserve a place in your life. You stop watering every plant in the garden and instead care for the ones that are still blooming. That kind of focus brings deeper meaning to your connections, not less. You might spend more time with a grandchild or have a real heart-to-heart with someone you've known for years. And because you're no longer emotionally cluttered, those moments feel richer, more vibrant, more real. It's not about the quantity of friends, it's about the quality of presence. You see, there's something incredibly powerful about knowing you don't need anyone to complete you. When companionship becomes a choice, not a crutch, you take back control of your joy. You walk into each day knowing that your happiness is not hanging on anyone else's actions, approval, or presence. It lives in you. It always has. As we continue to uncover these truths, it becomes even clearer how freeing this stage of life can be. And once you feel that freedom settle in, something remarkable happens. You begin to trust yourself again. That brings us to another powerful reason why embracing independence at this stage is not just helpful, but healing. You no longer live for validation. After years of trying to fit in, keep up, or be accepted, you finally realize you don't need anyone else's approval to feel worthy. You've already lived through so much: joys, heartbreaks, victories, regrets, and you've come out stronger. You don't need to explain your choices to anyone. You don't have to dress a certain way, think a certain way, or behave a certain way just to be liked. That kind of freedom is rare in this world, and when you find it, it changes everything. You stop comparing. You stop apologizing for who you are, and most importantly, you stop waiting for invitations, attention, or acceptance. You begin living on your own terms. And the beauty of that? It often leads to a more peaceful, more content version of yourself. You wake up lighter. You sleep deeper. You smile for no reason at all. There's something truly peaceful about knowing you can rely on yourself. You learn to become your own best friend. You know how to soothe your own worries, how to entertain your own mind, and how to enjoy your own company without needing anyone to fill the space. And ironically, that's when the right people often show up, when you're not chasing or needing them. The final reason this new chapter can be the happiest one yet is because it invites you to live more authentically. When you stop pretending, performing, or pleasing, you finally get to be you. That might mean speaking your truth more often. It might mean turning down events you don't care for and spending that time watching the sunset instead. It might even mean revisiting old dreams you'd tucked away for years. And here's the most touching part. When you live authentically, the world meets you differently. You start attracting moments that feel real, not rehearsed. You meet people who see the real you, not the version you edited for acceptance. And even if there are fewer people in your life, the ones who remain are there for the right reasons. The idea that aging means losing something isn't always true. In fact, after 70, you often gain what really matters: clarity, peace, and the courage to live in alignment with your values. Letting go of the pressure to maintain a big social circle doesn't mean giving up on connection. It just means making space for the right kind of connection, genuine, respectful, and enriching. And that, more than anything, is what helps you live happier. Not louder, not busier, not surrounded by dozens of people, but happier. Because happiness, especially after 70, has little to do with how many people you know and everything to do with how well you know yourself. So if you've ever felt guilty for wanting more solitude, or questioned whether it's okay to enjoy your own company more than anyone else's, let this be your permission. You're not becoming distant. You're becoming grounded. You're not losing people. You're finding yourself. And that might just be the greatest gift this season of life has to offer.